My name is Mason, and I hope you're all doing very well today. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be looking through a book of runes. This is The Book of Runes by Ralph Blum. It's a small book, and it's about Norse or Viking runes, which were used to tell fortunes. I believe it was also their alphabet, perhaps, but the symbols are used to tell fortunes. And here we have this bag of runes. They look a bit like this. You may have seen symbols like this before. So we're going to be looking through this book and learning about runes together. I read this a long time ago. I used to use these runes a bit for fun, but it's been about 5 years, so we'll see what happens. So, on this front cover, we have all of the runes and what they mean. And then we have some more detailed traditional meanings. We're going to skip that for now. I should also say, this has a message in here from 1984. It was a gift to my Uncle Elwood from something. He died a while back, and he just had a bunch of junk. So my family and I looked through all of it to see what to get rid of and sell and what to take and stuff like that. And it was pretty much just free reign of if you see something that you want, go ahead and take it. Everything else we're just getting rid of. And I found this and was very excited about it. The Book of Runes. A handbook for the use of an ancient oracle, the Viking runes. Copyright 1982. We have the table of contents. I'm going to skip some of the story a bit and just go to the actual content of the runes. I will, however, read this poem here. Havamal, the speech of the High One. I know I hung on that windy tree, swung there for 9 long nights, wounded by my own blade, bloodied for Odin, myself an offering to myself, bound to the tree that no man knows whither the roots of it run. None gave me bread, none gave me drink. Down to the deepest depths I peered, until I spied the runes. With a roaring cry I seized them up, then dizzy and fainting I fell. Well-being I won, and wisdom too. I grew, and took joy in my growth. From a word to a word, I was led to a word, from a deed to another deed. From the Old Norse Poetic Edda, from around 1200 AD. I'll read a couple of these paragraphs here that have some interesting information. In the introduction, few people today have even heard the word runes. Among those of Scandinavian descent, and among readers of Tolkien, yes, a light goes on, but that's about the extent of it. An ancient alphabetic script, each of whose letters possessed a meaningful name, as well as a signifying sound. Runes were employed for poetry, for inscriptions, and divination, yet never evolved as a spoken language. Next to nothing has been written about runes as a contemporary oracle. use an ancient oracle, the runes. Older than the New Testament, the runes have lain fallow for more than 300 years, akin in function to the tarot and the Chinese Book of Changes. The runes were last in current use in Iceland during the late Middle Ages. In their time, they served as the I Ching of the Vikings. Like all true oracles, the runes are an instrument for tuning in to our own wisdom. I'm just flipping through to try to find some interesting information. There's a lot. It's about a 150-page book, so I want to make sure I don't do too much. I'm going to focus on the meaning of the runes. Once you start exploring the world of runes, you will discover that many people have developed their own form of personal rune casting. I know a black man who works the boardwalk in Venice, California. He sits on an old sheet on which he has painted the rainbow circles of a bullseye. He has a bag of stones and shells and twigs, and when you have posed your question, he scatters his runes and reads from their spread. I have met people who work with sand dollars, bits of bone, stones upon which they have scratched their own symbols. I even know a woman who has discovered that the inside of the sea urchin shell can be read effectively, and employs a series of such shells for counseling. All of these variants, however homespun, seem to me consistent with the most ancient traditions, such as the early Chinese practice of reading oracle bones, and the cracks that appear in tortoise shells heated in a fire, and the tradition of Rune itself. Consulting the runes. No rules exist for consulting the runes beyond an attitude of seriousness and respect, for you are, in effect, consulting the higher self. There are people who simply set aside a special time of day at which to cast the runes. Others prefer a more ritual approach, lighting a candle, perhaps a stick of incense, taking time to compose themselves. A meditation on the breath is helpful. Simply follow the breath in and out. Let the breaths be long, easy, and connected. Become as still as you can manage, setting aside all considerations, worries, duties, if only for a moment. You can always get back to your current fears, regrets, and anxieties later. Usually, I try to say a brief prayer even if the situation is intense or turbulent. Focus is important, but if the ordinary business of living intrudes, that's all right too. The runes are very forgiving. You can consult them on the run. No formal preparation, no sitting to still your mind. Your need is what brings the runes into play. And always remember, you are in the realm of play, even if it is sacred play. The time to consult the runes is when you have exhausted your own conscious wisdom, or when you are confronted with a situation where you seem to possess limited or incomplete information. If a crisis arises and you have cause to consult your higher self without delay, simply focus the issue clearly in your mind. Reach into the rune bag, make contact with the stones, and draw a rune. As one practitioner of Rune put it, the right rune always sticks to my fingers. You can consult the runes for another person. If someone is far away and could benefit from the perspective of a rune reading, the telephone is her ally. as a popular song says, telephone line is a lifeline. Many healers practice healing at a distance. Time and space do not exist in spiritual healing. Rune reading works as well over 8,000 miles as it does face to face. What kind of issues are appropriate? An appropriate issue is anything that relates to timeliness and right conduct. You might wish to counsel on a contemplated change in your way of life, on whether or not it is the proper moment to undertake a new livelihood, sell a business, make an investment, change your place of dwelling, or whether it is timely to terminate or undertake a relationship. These and similar concerns are the proper province for oracular interrogation. Notice that I use the word issues rather than questions. For example, a question might be, should I end this relationship? Or as stated as an issue, you would say, the issue is my relationship now. Instead of asking, should I accept this new job? You might say, the issue is my work. This small distinction is a crucial one, because by addressing the broader issue, the oracle allows the querent to extract the answer and take responsibility for the decision. As a side note away from the book, this I think is one of the most important parts of reading the runes, is that you cannot ask them a question, especially not one so simple as yes or no. They don't give yes or no answers, they give complex answers. It's like interpreting a dream. There's no clear-cut answer, so it's up to you to interpret what the runes say in the context of your issue as a whole, not just, should I take this job? Should I quit this job? But it's telling you overall what you need to know about your issues around your work, for example. So, I think that is one of the most important distinctions that this book says, and when you're asking the runes, when we ask the runes later, we will not be using questions, we will be using broader statements and interpreting from there. Whether I am consulting the runes for others or for myself, they never fail to provide information that is relevant and to the point. When I am casting the runes for others, I ask that they formulate the matter of concern clearly in their minds, but not stated aloud. This eliminates any conscious personal bias in my interpretation of the runes. When you first start working with the runes, you may want to check them for accuracy, in effect, to calibrate them. This can be done through oracular crosstalk, consulting two different oracular instruments on the same issue. For years, I have consulted the I Ching when I began working with the runes, in order to confirm their responses with those of a known and wise friend. I would address the same issue to the I Ching and then to the runes. Time after time, I found both oracles to be in resonance, sometimes identical in their symbolic content, often complementary, always an enrichment. My own confidence in the runes was solidly confirmed through this process. If you are ever in doubt about the timely issue to pose, simply ask the runes, what do I need to know in my life now? The oracle's reply is invariably nourishing and instructive. Here we have the great invocation. Let's see, does it explain it? Okay. So, this is something you can perhaps say. I believe this is Christian in some sense, since it says God and Christ. So, I don't think I've ever used it, but it may be helpful to you to help invoke the runes. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Alright, now we're going to do the good stuff. Rune 'em all, the art of rune casting. Like all games, sacred and secular, the runes are meant to be played upon a field. The field represents the world that is always coming to be and passing away. You may want to use a special piece of fabric, colored or white, that you keep for this purpose alone. When you unfold the cloth that serves as your field, that very act can become a silent meditation. My field, a rainbow weaving made for me by a weaver of the Findhorn community in Scotland, measures 14 inches by 18 inches and is woven from 22 graded hues of silk thread. My first bag was a found object, purple with a legend stitched on one side, announcing that the bag's original contents had been a bottle of Crown Royal whiskey. Someone else drank the whiskey. I inherited the bag. The first time I read this, it was pretty funny because I know exactly what that bag is, and I have one, and it just made me laugh so much. 25 years after this book was written, or more like 30 years after this book was written when I read this. It's just so funny. I like that bag because there's plenty of room inside for even the largest hand to fit in and rattle the stones about. But neither bag nor field needs to be ornate. As the I Ching reminds us, even with slender means, the sentiments of the heart can be expressed. A rune master in the ancient days might shake the runes in his pouch, chant an invocation to Odin, requesting that the god be present, and then scatter the stones, drawing his answer to the question for divination from those that fell cliffside up. This venerable method seems unwieldy to me when I employ it. I often find myself compelled to make a coherent interpretation from a dozen or more stones. However, a number of other satisfactory techniques recommend themselves. In the beginning, whether I was reading for someone else or my own, I used to spread all the runes glyphs down on the field. Then I or the querent would touch each stone, moving it about or letting the fingers rest lightly upon it for a moment. But there is always something very satisfying about reaching into the bag and choosing the stones. I like feeling the stones click against one another, and even more the way, after a few moments, a rune seems always to insert itself between my fingers. Let's see, making your own runes, techniques and spreads. Here we go. There are a variety of methods for casting the runes. Here are several techniques that I have found most effective. Odin's Rune. This is the most practical and simple use of the runes, and it consists in drawing one rune from an overview of an entire situation. That single rune encompasses the issue, present conditions, and resolution. In spirit, it is the nearest to the Delphic pronouncements of ancient times. This is the crux reading, the rune of aha, so that's what it's all about. Drawing Odin's Rune is also the technique for stressful conditions, for the use of the spiritual warrior under siege. You may find yourself in a pressure situation, confronted with matters that demand action now. And the truth is, you don't have enough information. There is no time for spreading cloths, lighting candles, meditating. All you require is your bag of runes, and if possible, a quiet place. I once had occasion to consult the runes in a busy office where everyone was acting as if the world was coming to an end. The bathroom door was locked, so I got into the elevator and stopped it between floors. Those few moments between the 7th and 8th floors gave me privacy to compose myself. With the issue clearly in mind, I drew a single rune and got Vehu, nourishment and possessions, which said, in effect, look at where your true nourishment lies. There we go. The 3-rune spread. The magical number 3 figures prominently in the divination practices of the ancients, and was, if we are to believe Tacitus, already in use 2,000 years ago. The 3-rune spread is quite satisfying for all but the most extended and intricate readings. As of this writing, I have done almost 600 castings, relying upon this spread more than half the time. With the issue clearly in mind, select 3 runes, one at a time, and place them in order of selection from right to left on the field. To avoid the manipulation of stones, especially as you become familiar with their symbols, it is preferable to place them with their blank sides up. Only 9 runes read the same upright or reversed. With the other 16, the readings will differ with the position of their glyphs. It is to be hoped that even with regular use, your stones will not pick up identifying marks on their blank faces. Once you have selected the runes, they will lie before you in this fashion. 1, 2, 3. Depending on how you happen to turn them, you may now still alter the direction of the glyphs, but that too is part of the process. Now let us consider an example of a 3-rune spread. One of my friends, whose wife had recently left him, was still in primary shock when he came to me for a rune casting. He was experiencing a lot of pain, realizing after the fact the value of this relationship and agonizing over his loss. The issue then was, what am I to learn from this separation? These are the runes he drew. Interpreting the runes may be done in the following manner. The first rune on the right speaks to the situation as it is. The second rune, center, suggests the course of action called for. And the third rune, on the left, indicates the new situation that is evolving. Reading from the right, the first rune, Algies, the rune of protection reversed, addresses a sense of being totally vulnerable, unprotected. It is a counsel to be mindful that only right action and correct conduct provide protection at such a time. Don't try to protect yourself. You will progress, and that knowledge is your protection. You must learn and grow from what has happened. The second rune, Kano, is the rune of opening up. Trust the process, this rune is saying. You now have more light with which to see what is the case. What in your old conditioning must go. Third comes Nathiz, the rune of constraint and pain, a rune frequently drawn these days, it seems. The growth to be undertaken will not be free of anguish. His wife's departure from his life has enabled him to undertake serious work on himself, and he has put on notice that rectification must come before progress. To sum up, the 3 runes were saying, though you are vulnerable and exposed, with the pain comes the necessary clarity to get on with self-change, and as you progress, remember to consider the positive uses of adversity. Despite the reversed rune and the pain involved, I felt, and so did he, that this was a positive and encouraging reading. There is another useful method of interpreting the 3-rune spread, particularly when the issue is one of blockage in your life. In this interpretation, the rune you draw first represents you now, where you are in their passage. The third rune on the left stands for the goal you wish to attain, while the second or center rune is the problem, whatever is blocking you from reaching your goal. If you decide upon this method of interpretation, do so in advance. In most cases, the runes drawn will not be identical with those you get from employing the 3 stages reading. Alright, so we're going to use this method, the first one mentioned. And we're going to ask the runes, how should I proceed with the Mason Zero ASMR YouTube channel? How can I grow it into a thriving community? How can I provide good content to people and become a better channel than I am now? Okay. So, let's see what we have. So we start with the one on the right, which is essentially where we are now. It speaks to the situation as it is. So, it is the warrior rune facing downward. It's number 15. All the runes are in the back. Alright. The warrior energy. Let's see what it means reversed. The danger is that through hasty or ill-timed action, energy leaks out, is spilled away. If an association is short-lived, do not grieve, but know that it has fulfilled its span. Matters of trust and confidence are at issue here, and with them the authenticity of your way of being in the world. There is a risk of collapsing into your emotions or of behaving recklessly. This is a rune of powerful energy. Reversed, it calls for having a serious think with yourself. Examine your motives. Are you trying to dominate another? Are you focused on outcomes rather than on the activity for its own sake? This is not a matter on which to seek outside advice. Keep your own counsel. Through consulting the runes, you are consulting the self, which is the action proper to a spiritual warrior. That rune is actually very, very poignant in this case. I think that being on YouTube, it's easy to get obsessed with views and subscribers and ad revenue. And those are the motives that you end up trying to follow, rather than focusing on the activity for its own sake. And I feel like with ASMR especially, the activity is the important part. The success of the channel doesn't matter. The real success is relaxing people, making content that people can come back to and enjoy and be relaxed by, not just to get a million views. I think that's something that's hard for me. Obviously I want views and subscribers and ad revenue. Obviously I want that. But I can't let that cloud the true point of doing these videos and why I started in the first place, which is to relax people and make them happy. So I think that was a wonderful rune to start with for our current situation. And now we move on to the middle rune, which will tell us sort of the issue and the problem standing in our way. The course of action. So let's see, we have the rune 24, the rune of wholeness. Sorry guys, I think I bumped the microphone a little while ago. So, I'm just gonna restart what I was talking about. Our second rune is the Rune of Wholeness, 24. It's the Sowelu, the Rune of Wholeness, life forces, the sun's energy. The symbol of this rune is wholeness, that which our nature requires. It embodies the impulse towards self-realization and indicates the path you must follow, not from ulterior motives, but from the essence of your individuality. Seeking after wholeness is the heart of the warrior's quest, and yet what you are striving to become in actuality is what you already are in essence. It is your personal myth, that which you are to make conscious, bring into form, express in a creative way. The sun symbolizes the path and illuminates the goal, which is the human heart. A rune of great power, making life force available. To you, Sowelu marks a time for recharging and regeneration right down to the cellular level. You may actually experience power surges, for the energies involved can be drastic. Although this rune has no reversed position, there is reason for caution. You may even see fit to withdraw, to retreat in the face of a pressing situation, especially if events or people are demanding that you spend your energy now. Know that such a retreat is a retreat in strength, and that it can mark a voyage inward for centering, for balance. Timely retreat is among the skills of the spiritual warrior. At the same time, for some, this rune counsels opening yourself up, letting the light into some part of your life that has been secret shut away. To accomplish this may call for profound recognitions, for admitting to yourself something that you have long denied. There is a prayer known as the Gayatri that embodies the spirit of this rune. Address the sun in this fashion. You, who are the source of all power, whose rays illuminate the whole world, illuminate also my heart, so that it can do your work. When reciting the Gayatri, visualize the sun's rays streaming forth into the world, entering your own heart, and then streaming out of your heart center in turn. This is an extremely powerful and life-enhancing prayer. Again, there is a caution not to give yourself airs. Yet, even in a time of bountiful energy, you are required to face and vanquish your refusal to let right action flow through you. Nourish this capacity, for it is your true function. Aim yourself truly and maintain your aim without manipulation. Practice the art of not forcing. Aim yourself truly and then maintain your aim without manipulating effort. Meditate on Christ's words, I can of mine own self do nothing. For in our own power we do nothing. Even in loving, it is love that loves through us. This way of thinking and being integrates new energies and permits you to flow into wholeness, which is the ultimate realization of your personal myth and the goal of the spiritual warrior. I think this one is a bit more ambiguous, but I think still speaks to the channel. I think what it's trying to say here is that we can't let the channel get stale. I just uploaded 8 videos of Eldritch Moon pack openings, and while some of you guys might like that, it's a lot of the same, and I feel like you need something more. Sorry, I'm having some microphone trouble here. Anyways, I think that we need to make content that is refreshing, sort of recharge our energies. I've had bursts of creativity where I made other types of videos, and it's been a little while since I've done that, I feel like. I think this video is the start of that. And I'm not sure, I don't think I'll be making any retreats, like it mentions, but I know there have been some times lately where I've taken a few days off because I just haven't had content, but I have a list of ideas now, and I'm excited to bring them to light. So this one's a bit vague. I can't of mine own self do nothing. I'm going to interpret that as this channel is nothing without you guys. You guys are what keeps me going, keeps me wanting to make these videos. After all, relaxing you guys and making you happy is the point of the channel. So now, let's read the last rune to see where we're going. The new situation that is evolving, as it says. So this rune is joy. I like the sound of that already. And it is not reversed, which is probably good. Right, Wunjo, the rune of joy and light. This rune is a fruit-bearing branch. The term of travail has ended, and you have come to yourself in some regard. The shift that was due has occurred, and now you can freely receive its blessings, whether they be a material gain in your emotional life or in a heightened sense of your own well-being. This is an alchemical moment in which understanding is transmuted from knowledge. The knowledge itself was a necessary but not sufficient condition. Now you can rejoice, having been carried across the gap by the Tao, the Holy Spirit. Joyousness accompanies new energy, energy blocked before now. Light pierces the clouds and touches the waters, just as something lovely emerges from the depths. The soul is illuminated from within. At the meeting place of heaven and earth, the meetings of the waters, there is a new clarity which may call for you to renounce existing plans, ambitions, goals. It is proper and timely that you submit, for Wunjo is a rune of restoration, of the self properly aligned to the self. I think that is a very fitting rune for the ending. It seems it was written to be the final rune in a reading, much like this seemed like the first rune, this seemed like the middle rune. It just seemed like it wouldn't make as much sense in a different context. Almost every time I've used these, even though the descriptions are vague, much like a horoscope, and can apply to everything, it always seems like they especially apply in the order that I pull them in. It's always interesting. So this one is basically saying that it's all going to work out. This channel is going to have a shift of creativity, of coming into our own, figuring out what it is we do well, and we're going to receive the blessings, as it says, of doing that, and we're all going to be happy. We're going to have new energy and joyousness. It's going to be like a light emerging, and it's going to be great. I definitely have my doubts about the channel. It's growing, but sometimes it grows at a slower rate, and I'm not sure where it's going to top out. We're at 160 right now, and I'm not sure when that's going to end. It hasn't been going extremely fast, but it also hasn't been going extremely slow. We're getting there, and it's really exciting. And I hope that the changes that I start bringing more effort into the channel, more creative ideas, I hope that brings more people in, and I think that it will. And I'm trusting in these runes and what they say. I think that it's laying out a nice path for me and for us as the channel. So with that, I think I'm going to end the video. If you're still awake, then I'll leave you with this message, or some things to say, I suppose. I am not a spiritual or religious person. I do not believe in these runes having some sort of power. I think they're interesting. I think that much like a horoscope, they can help guide you, but they do not tell you anything. You make your own destiny, and these help guide you towards what you want your destiny to be. I think we got a very hopeful and fitting reading today for our channel. And I keep saying our channel because this isn't just my channel, you guys are part of it. You're reason this content is made. I wouldn't be doing this if no one was watching, because no, this isn't for me, it's for you. I enjoy doing it so much, and I enjoy reading your comments and seeing the likes and views. I enjoy all of it, and I hope to continue making more in the future. And as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep making, I'll keep creating. So, regardless of what you believe, religiously, spiritually, anything, you are welcome here. And I will listen to you, and if you have some words of wisdom, I will gladly listen to them. And I will trust in what these runes are saying. If you are interested in learning more about the runes, then I will try to leave a link in the description to this product if I can find it anywhere. And if not, I'll try to find some other good information about the runes. Keep in mind, this is one man's interpretation of the runes. I think they're a very good interpretation. They're detailed, but not too detailed. I quite like it, but there are always more descriptions. And there are a lot of runes I didn't cover. As you can see, there are 25 runes, and we only looked at 3. So once again, this is the Book of Runes by Ralph Blum, written in 1982. It came with this bag of runes. And it'd be awesome to have your own. It's a nice little novelty item, and for someone like me who doesn't believe in anything like prayer or anything like that, it can be a pretty interesting tool. It gives you something tangible to look at, which I think is why I like it. I can pray for guidance, but I won't get anything, at least in my opinion, but here I can interpret it, make my own destiny from it. And I think that's what I like and what is appealing about it. Anyways, I keep going on about this. I'm going to end the video here. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you check out the runes for yourselves. Let me know what you thought of this, and think of the channel. Hope you guys sleep very well, and are nice and relaxed. If it's during the day, have a great day. If it's during the night, have a great night. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for all your support.